welcome back to the Full Disclosure Podcast. It's your host, Bri.
And A'Nae.
And today, like we mentioned last episode, we're going to talk about relationships. The healthy, the toxic, the in-between.
Mm-hmm.
So this is low-key a therapy session for A'Nae. She doesn't know it
Yes,
yet.
guys.
But
I'm nerdy.
we have our drinks today, so I think we're ready.
Yes. We all have wine, guys. Grab your wine.
Explain what you're drinking today, because your drink is it.
So I have edible glitter in my glass, if you can't tell.
Mm-hmm.
It's Winking Owl red wine with a little bit of edible glitter. And there's one other thing, and I can't remember the name of it, but...
Period.
Oh, grenadine. Grenadine.
And I have freshly picked spring grapes squished by my own feet and kept in a barrel for 100 years. Cheers, everybody.
She's a fairy, guys. Cheers.
You're immortal. All right, so let's get into it, A'Nae.
Yes. Oh, before we start, guys, almost happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah.
Cute hearts.
A'Nae.
Sorry.
Do you expect me to go to another null tech?
No, I actually would kill you.
So I'm going to be like this for a while, hon.
It's fine. I forgive you. You're not a cheater, and I love that for you.
Exactly. I'm loyal.
You are. She's a loyal girl.
And loyalty.
Oh, God.
What do you think are the top 5 things you value in a romantic relationship?
The way you got into that was so funny. My top 5. Let's see. The first one would be I need a man that is family oriented. Mm-hmm. Second would be hardworking. I need someone that's like on the same level as me. Wants to work hard and see me work hard. Let's see. Motivation. I like when relationships are more motivating rather than like competition. I've been with men that are like, will see me as competition, and that does not work well.
Ew.
They're very nasty. The fourth one, someone that's like, they don't have to be religious, but like someone that has a relationship with God, or even a spiritual, something of the sort, like they believe in a higher being and they like someone that likes to pray, you know, something of the sort. And my fifth one,
She said 6'6".
Honestly, I just want someone that like takes care of themselves, like they care about themselves. Like you're not gonna sit there and grow a beard for 10 weeks and look dirty.
Not 10 weeks.
I'm just saying.
They keep themselves up well.
Yeah, because I love a good beard, but like keep it up. Like trim it a little bit. Like don't be like a forest, you know? So okay, yeah, I want someone that I can bring home to my parents. That's it. Like that's it.
Why do these things keep... A'Nae, I promise.
This is scary.
I'm getting hacked.
Brianna, please. Who's watching us right now?
Your future husband. He's loading.
Hey, I'm waiting.
I mean, I would agree with most of the points. I think for me, more specifically, I think number 1 is definitely a relationship with God, because to me that ties directly to your morals.
True.
And if you have no moral code, you're gonna walk over me. You're gonna walk over everybody else. You're gonna walk over those kids.
That's facts. Yeah.
I think another important part for me would be a man that is generous. And generous all around. To himself, to his family, to me. So I think
that's a good one.
Quality, and then honesty. That one right there.
Brianna, this is the This is the difference between grown and growing. This is the difference, y'all. I'm
Stop.
getting there. Don't worry.
But seriously, like that one right there,
To be
if he can
honest,
lie to you to your face, he
yeah,
can
there's no point.
he can literally kill your family. Like, even if it's just the honesty to be like, he's not
Oh
for
my
you or
god.
you're not for him, like
Mhm.
to me
Mhm.
that's respectable at the very least. Um, and I think what ties into that is loyalty, and I don't mean like just blind loyalty, like ride or die, like
Mhm.
even if I'm gonna like send you to prison, like come with me,
Yeah,
whatever. Like, no, like loyal to me for the right reasons, and vice
that's
versa.
true.
Like, don't be with me if I'm being a dumbass. I'm not gonna be with you if you're being a dumbass. Like,
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
expect that. And then number five would be family oriented, like you said. Like, for me, like I value family, and so I think
Mhm.
it's important to have in a partner that also values family. Otherwise, it's gonna be me trying to carry the family on my back, and like I'm a single wife, and
No, literally.
that's not gonna fly.
That's not good. I agree. Those are good ones. I
Thanks.
feel like, dude, I don't be thinking.
What do you mean?
Well, I will say, right? I used to go to therapy. I literally just stopped last month, and my therapist literally made me write a list of my needs and my things that like I don't like, or like what I want and what I don't want in a man.
Hmm.
And those were all of the things that I wrote. But like, if someone asks me on the whim, girl, I just be like, make him cute.
You got a blank.
Yes, I'd be like, make sure he's cute and tall. Like, but then when I meet a guy, like, I will always check those things off my list. Like, always.
Yeah. And unfortunately, like it comes with trial and error. Like you're not gonna know off rip, and some people are really good at pretending, and they can
Oh
pretend for a
yeah,
long time, like
yeah,
a long
for a long
time.
time. Yeah.
So I mean, you can't fault yourself for the persona that people put on, but you can fault yourself for staying after they show whatever
I
it is that they
agree.
were hiding that whole time.
That's
So
true.
for me, like it's okay to be misled, but to knowingly be misled is crazy.
Hmm. I agree. I think that's one thing in relationships. Like, once you know who a person is and they're showing you who you are,
Hmm.
there's nothing else you can do.
I
Make
saw
your
this.
choice.
I saw this one thing when I used to watch Steve Harvey a lot, but it was real. It was like, why would you keep collecting? It was something along the lines of like, why would you keep collecting red flags? Like, I think he was talking to this lady that was, she was either married for 10 years with like kids, and she knew it was like a bad
Hmm.
relationship, but she didn't want to like leave him because it was so much wasted time and all of that. And he was like, well, what the future looks like ahead if you stay with him, which is
Hmm.
all of the shit you've been dealing with versus the
Right.
alternative, which is at least you would be letting that part go. So I
Very
feel like
true.
people do get stuck in the idea of I've had X amount of time with this person and I have to be
Hmm.
with them, and no, you don't. Like, you really don't.
Honestly, like, I feel like, okay, I've been in that situation before with like my last relationship because someone will treat you a certain type of way in the beginning, right?
Mhm.
And like as women, I feel like we have this idea that like how someone is in the beginning is who they are. I've
Mhm.
learned from all of the exes that I've had, who they are in the beginning is never them. I'm sorry. Like unless they're a true, true, true
It's their
person.
representative.
Right. But most men in my experience that I've dealt with, they're a completely different person from beginning to end. And I feel like in my last relationship, I was trying to hold on to the relationship because I was like, oh my god, no, like I was in love with this person. When I met him, like he was like this and he treated me like this, but that doesn't matter. Whoever they treat you in that moment is who they are. Like
True.
that's like my number one life lesson. Like I even have friends or acquaintances, sorry.
Thank you
I'm
for the
learning,
correction.
guys. I'm learning.
Thank
Old
you.
acquaintances, I would say. That like they were in relationships, but like they would complain about their partner, but then still say, "Oh, but when we first met or a year ago, they were like this." And I'm like, if they're not treating you like that now, then what are you doing? Like,
Right.
you're
We're not
holding an
past.
idea, right? Yeah, you're holding the idea of someone, not who they actually are. And I feel like I had to learn that the hard way, not even in my own relationships, but like learning from other people too. Like, I still see it to this day in people that I know, and I'm like, that's not really something that I want in my life. I feel like when I do, if I do find a man, um,
When?
but I don't know when. True. But yeah, I feel like that's one of the lessons that people, like the biggest fault is like you hold on to the idea of someone from the past, and that's just not who they are anymore.
Right. I feel like I've never had to. Okay, you might know this already, Anae, but I like growing up. I had like a detachment issue. I don't know what the word is. Like
No,
for
you
me, it was
do.
no, literally, like it was easy for me to detach from.
That's
Like for
what
me,
I
it was no
learned from
problem.
you.
Like it was no
Yeah.
problem, and so like my past relationships, I was like, okay, well, there's a red flag. See you later.
Mhm.
Like, nice knowing you. Like it was fun, but I feel like at the same time, as much as that can benefit you, like it can also be a detriment because obviously when you're in a healthy relationship like I'm in right now, like you have to learn how to like unpack why I was actually like that,
Mhm.
which was not fun because it has to be
Mhm.
vulnerable. And
Mhm.
honestly, I've done a lot of learning in this relationship to be vulnerable. So I've been more open and shouts out to John.
Period. Shout out to him.
Shout out to John. But yeah, like it it's hard to acknowledge a trait of yours that was once helpful to you that is now not helpful to you in your relationships. If that makes sense.
That does make sense, and that's true. It's weird because like it's such a good trait to have, but it's also a bad trait, but then even vice versa, like the other side. Okay, so in therapy, I'll give a little life lesson. My therapist told me that there's a polarity. There's
Mm-hmm.
this side and there's this side. Both sides are bad, but there is a middle ground where you have good qualities from this part and good qualities from this part. So like me, I'm very much like the attachment style and you're the detachment style, I've noticed. Me, like with a guy, I will try and try and try and try and try until like it's hurting myself, right? You,
Mm-hmm.
one thing's wrong, like you'll be done.
Mm-hmm.
They're both to the extreme, they're both bad. But if you simmer it down and come in the middle, okay, hey, like I love this person, I'm gonna hold on to them. But if they do something wrong, talk about it, whatever. But you're good in that way where like if a guy hurts you or whatever, you're not gonna sit there and be like, no, like we can try and you're this and that, whatever. That's me. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'd be holding on.
That really is you. You be in there like
Oh
this.
no. Yeah, I'm dodging. And
You
it's
be
like a
in
life lesson. Like I be trying to like think about like, okay, can I see this person changing this and that? Do not do that. Like 9 times out of 10 people will not change if they like hurt your heart more than once.
there.
It's not gonna change. It doesn't matter how good you think they are or oh he was like this a year ago and he can do better, blah blah blah. No. Whoever they are is who they are. So
Mm-hmm.
having that like middle ground polarity is like the most important thing. Like there's things to take from both sides that I feel like are positive.
You ate that one up. Your therapist
Shout
was
out to my
insane,
therapist. Yeah.
honestly.
She ate
Because
down and I learned something.
no, literally, and look at you reciting it, which means it's stuck. She's intelligente.
I'm t-
I'm bilingual too. What?
you are, dude. I'm teaching you well.
You. No, I agree. I think, ugh, as much as the other side sounds good too, I feel like with any trait, there's polarity to your point. Like there should always be balance in the extremes because it could
Mhm.
be detrimental to your relationships. Like even, I don't want to dabble back into the friendship conversation because we already had that, but even for me, like it's why it was hard for me to keep friendships in the beginning of like
Mhm.
even high school into like college and stuff like that. Like And you're
Right.
just like, okay, well, that was a season. I guess we move on to this phase and whatever. So, like, through. And relationships can also teach you things. Like, I wanted
Very
you to
true.
know, like, you don't have to be perfect to be in a relationship. You don't. Sometimes you aren't 100% healed, or you think you're 100% healed and ready, and turns out you aren't because things get unveiled in a relationship. But I think
Right.
when you are with the right person, like you can grow and change and develop into the person that you need to be through the relationship, not necessarily apart from it. And so I think
Mm-hmm.
that those ones are a little bit harder to know. Like you don't know until
It
you're in it,
is.
obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's why it's so important to be like, what's the word? Intuitive,
Yes.
or
Yeah.
like just to know
Yeah. Know
who
when
to
it's
date
time.
with. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I think that like I don't know. Like I always try not to judge people that are in relationships and they tell me these bad things and I'm like, "Why are you staying?" Because literally when you're in it, you understand. Like you don't know until you're in it, but it's also like you have to learn your lesson one way or another. Or else
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, I feel like God will keep putting people in your life to teach you that lesson until you learn. Like if you don't
Mm-hmm.
learn, he's going to be like, "Okay, well, I'm going to bring you another man and he's going to teach you
To
again
do
and
way
again
more
and again
things.
and again."
Yeah.
So learn your lesson the first couple of times if you have to, but like don't be like, oh my god, why is this happening? It's happening because you're not learning. You're just
And
not
then be
learning.
like, "Woe is me," and you're your own like
Right.
you're
Like,
at
oh
fault at
god.
the end of the day.
Yes,
Yeah, you know
yes,
what I mean.
yes.
Yeah, I don't
Like
think it's
everyone's in the
personal.
wrong, but like you're also in the wrong for staying and for letting someone treat you that way.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I always think that like to me personally, if I never find a man, I'll be okay. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, life goes on and whatever, but of course everybody like craves that relationship
Mm-hmm.
and that type of intimacy with someone, but you have to also like be okay with yourself before God can actually bring you the person that you need and deserve, because if you're not okay with yourself, you're gonna like put everything on that other person, and when they leave, who are you without them? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel like that's also another important thing when it comes to relationships. You have to be yourself, like be your own person. You have to have your own hobbies, your own life
Mm-hmm.
outside of that person. Because God forbid, like if they pass away, if y'all break up, whatever, you have to be
Right.
a person still.
I think that ties into like what we were saying last week about like being comfortable with being alone, like being comfortable with
Mm-hmm.
yourself and actually like enjoying your own company. Because a lot of
Yeah,
people be trying to escape demons, be trying to escape like real issues that they just don't want to address.
literally.
For some people, like people think it's just like food addiction or smoking or like
Mm-hmm.
drinking, but it's like you can use people to fill voids too, and a lot of people use people
Absolutely.
and relationships to fill voids.
Yeah. I know a lot of people that do that. A lot of people that I know, like, they don't like being alone, so they, need
I'll name
friends, they
them.
need relationships.
I'll name them.
Anyways,
Anyways,
we do know a mutual person, but um, I think that's a very terrible thing because, like, in the end, back to God, y'all. If you are like that, He will make sure to remove everybody from your life. You will have
mm-hmm,
nobody, and that way you are forced to be alone and learn how to be alone. But who wants
mm-hmm.
to do that? You know what I mean? Nobody wants to go through that and feel that like emotion of like, oh my god, I dread being alone. But everyone has to
Right.
learn their lesson eventually, whatever. I've learned how to be alone and enjoy my own company and you know, it's a hard thing, but like I feel like as humans that's just our nature. We have to know how to be alone. Like we're not always going to have someone. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Like even if I know we're like what is it, communal creatures, but like I think at the end of the day, if you aren't in that space where you can be alone, like
Mhm.
there's not gonna be enough people to ever fill that space that you have to fill for yourself.
Exactly. I feel like also people will never fill you completely if you don't love yourself.
Right,
Like,
right. Because you're
I
not
don't
gonna be
know.
real. Like you don't know
Right.
who you are. But that's
Exactly.
it.
I feel like back in college, my old young college days, um, I never liked being alone. Brianna could tell you, like, I was always in this bitch's room, like 25/8. I was always in her room.
We were
We
locked
were
in
locked
though.
in.
We said only you. Come on.
No, seriously. But like, I never liked being alone. And so I would always, like, I remember I went through my first breakup. Brianna saw the shambles that my life was.
That girl was
And
not sleeping. You were doing a lot.
And she even saw me take this boy back multiple times and embarrass myself multiple times.
Goots.
Nonetheless, um, even after me and this person broke up, I went through a period of time, like months, where I was just like letting other males in my life, which is not what you want to do. I feel like after you go through a breakup, like you have to heal by yourself. You have to
Yeah.
like learn about yourself. You have to try new things, try new hobbies, spend time with friends, people that actually love and care about you. Which that doesn't mean filling the space with them, but like, I don't know, like sharing your time with them, like with people that genuinely care. But if you
Right.
just try to fill your space with people that don't care about you, it's gonna give you a downhill spiral, which that was my downhill spiral. Like in
That was.
2020,
Yeah.
when I tell you, if anyone wants to know why I dropped out of the exercise science program, my
The
life
gag.
was in
Wait, you were in
sham.
that?
Yeah, girl. Remember for like a semester, and I would always ask you for like
I
your
don't think
textbooks and
so.
stuff. I lived with you. We were in Westlake.
The goop and the gag. I just always remember the criminology like route.
No, I was in the exercise science for one semester. I lived my life for one semester, and I had to drop out because I was failing all of my classes. Because I was literally, if someone could have found
Yeah.
me in the bottom of a lake, they probably would have. I was so depressed over a boy, like y'all.
And not just a boy, a sorry ass man. Like he was not
Yeah, he
it
was.
at all.
When I
Like
tell you, I think about that.
look at her. Literally, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it was
Hilarious.
it was so stupid, and I learned my lesson. I will say I learned my lesson. Never again did I go through something like that. Like, of course, I cried over boys still and blah blah blah, but I never went through that deep depression that I went through. Failing classes over a man is ridiculous. Please, y'all, don't ever do that.
Right. Meanwhile, he's
Cut it
starting a
out.
new life, making bands, spending it on another girl. Like, what are we talking
He was not
about?
making bands.
I mean, let's pretend.
Sorry. Oh, I'm like, I actually know what he was doing. He
Making
was not.
dollars, making pennies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. But like, yeah, don't live your life for another person, guys. Especially if y'all are not together. Drop
Mm.
it. Drop it. Because I've even seen like old friends, like, after I learned my lesson, this was 2020, y'all. We're in 2024. That was 4 years ago. That is no longer the woman I am. So I'm allowed to give my opinion on other people now, okay? I've
She's grown now,
grown.
y'all.
She's grown. So after I learned my lesson, mind you, everyone that I know is older than me. So I feel like really, we gotta learn someday, guys.
She's
So I feel
young.
like with other people that I've seen go through stuff like this, like I did it once, one time. I learned my lesson once. But I've seen my old friends like go through this multiple times, like two, three, four times. There is no reason why you are going through the trenches, like
For
depths
good
of
for nothing.
hell. Good for
Man.
nothing, low life, men that's been in jail, that got no car, that
Jail.
have kids,
Not
that have no
kids.
job.
Mm-mm. We both
That's
know
the bare
that's the bare minimum.
minimum. Yes. Like when I tell you, that's another thing about relationships. We have to talk about the bare minimum, Brianna.